Hello, welcome to another English Sparkling with Tweedy video. Today a vineyard which is new to me, which is nice. I'm quite interested to try what these people have to offer. This is a producer called Winding Wood. They are based in West Berkshire, between Newbury and Hungerford, is it? Or Hungerford, sort of vaguely Hungerford. In, I suppose, the North Wessex Downs area of outstanding natural beauty. And that is a chalk ridge. Of course, there are chalky hills around there too. I don't think I've ever had anything from West Berkshire before, any English sparkling wine. Covered a lot of Sussex wines, good amount of Hampshire wines, a few from Kent. There are places in the southwest as well producing English sparkling, but yeah, I think this is the first time I've had anything from West Berkshire. It is their 2019 vintage. I think it just says that on the back. Slightly confusingly, they call this Brut Reserve, and normally to me a reserve wine means a multi-vintage. It's a collection of reserve wines from previous vintages, but the fact that it has the statement 2019 vintage on the back presumably means these are all grapes from 2019. I was alerted to this because the rosé, which I also have and I'll be tasting in a future video, won an award at the the Independent English Wine Awards this year. As the name suggests, that is a competition that just judges English wine, and that was one of the gold medal winners. It was one of the best in show. I don't know if the 2019 vintage of the regular white has won anything or even been entered into any competitions, but they did send this nice bit of blurb about the wine, a nice whole sheet of A4 with sort of wine nerd stats and so forth, and the previous vintages have won some awards. Perhaps I should stop talking and start drinking. Oh, they also sent me a free stopper, which was nice because I ordered a total of 3 bottles. They currently have 3 different wines in their range. It's feeling a little bit lively as I'm taking the, I think this is called a muselet, isn't it? The cage off. I have been carrying this in a bag, so I hope it's not going to be too... That's all right. There were even notes in that blurb there about how you should wash your glasses. So they said don't use detergent, just wash them in hot water. I always give them a very thorough rinse after I've washed them with washing up liquid. But the idea of not using washing up liquid at all feels a bit weird to me. I would say there is a nice intense and slightly sweet green apple nose there, possibly some other fruit. Some of the winemaking for this was done at Hattingley Valley, and then I think the remainder is a winery called Offbeat Wines. So I think the still wine phase of making this was, I believe, done at Hattingley, and then for the secondary fermentation, the traditional method sparkling bits, they transfer to Offbeat. So it is slightly reminiscent of those Hattingley Valley wines. They have this quite intense kind of green apple nose. Other things around the edges there. I felt like for a moment I got something, again, with a slight sweet twinge to it. Limey sort of citrus. A sweetened version of that. I know it's weird to describe aromas as sweet, but you know what I mean. Honeyed. That's that. So slightly honeyed citrus, green apple, quite intense. Honeysuckle-ish around the edges there. That is a nice nose, nice and fresh, nice and intense, but with some appealing, slightly kind of sweet character there as well. Lovely, breathtaking zing there on the first sip. Definitely lots of green apple intensity there, plenty of malic acid, really nice balance. Again, I'm getting a sort of overall Hampshire-y sort of sense. Perhaps they share a similar sort of geology. I suppose the North Wessex Downs, so they possibly jut into Hampshire a bit. West Berkshire plus a bit of Hampshire, maybe. Great walking country around there. So that is a very, very appealing, intense sort of zing with quite a lot of mineral character as well. Very refreshing, very crisp. Like that a lot. It's relatively low dosage, I think, amongst all this nerdy technical information. The residual sugars are 6.5 grams a litre, so that puts it right down at the bottom end of the Brut range. Any lower than that and we'd be into sort of half a gram or more lower than that and we'd be into extra Brut. But what I like about it are those slightly sweet edges to the nose, sort of honeysuckle sort of nose. So although the palate is really zingy, is really dry, there is that little hint of sweetness in the on the nose, really, in the aroma to carry that through. The autolytic character here It's one of those ones where it manifests in a slightly pastry-esque way. Again, quite reminiscent of some Hampshire wines, and particularly Hattingley Valley. I think you can spot, is it Emma Rice, I think, was the winemaker. I think she's moved on now, but was the winemaker at Hattingley Valley, and definitely traits of her work here, I would say. Really nice apple pie sort of profile. Bits of pastry, lovely intense green apple, with that slightly candied edge, which is really nice. Honeysuckle, honey sort of sweet edge. As I say, not so obviously uniquely different in terms of the overall profile, the overall character from Hampshire, but that isn't a criticism. I really like the sparkling wines of Hampshire. I suppose the modern geopolitical divide of West Berkshire versus Hampshire is probably irrelevant compared to the underlying geology. I wonder if there's any other interesting technical information in this blurb here. So the disgorgement date, it says December 202. I'm guessing that's 2022 they were trying to say there, but it doesn't actually have the bottling date. And I would guess this has had probably up to 3 years, perhaps just shy of 3 years of aging under the lees. And the cepage here, 62% Chardonnay and the remainder 38% Pinot Noir. Not really getting much Pinot character. Maybe that's perhaps some of those other fruits I was alluding to but didn't really name earlier, over and above the green apple and that citrusy twang. The official tasting notes here say a hint of white peach. Yeah, I suppose I could just about imagine. I don't know if I'd characterise it that way, but something stone fruity. So yeah, okay, perhaps there is a bit of Pinot influence there. But this is definitely a Chardonnay dominant wine. Pretty good. Would definitely buy from Winding Wood again based on that. I think a smart bit of English sparkling, the sort of thing we do well. Cheers.